One of the goals of the podcast is to understand how things happen. Jason McCourty has built a media career with speed. After an excellent playing career in the NFL, but not as quarterback or a Hall of Famer, McCourty at 37 is already calling NFL games for CBS and is a regular on ESPN. How'd he do it? We're going to find out. Jason McCourty, you are the main event. Really appreciate you giving us the time.
Oh, anytime, man. I love how you said it. Long career, not a Hall of Famer. You got to specify that.
You know when I read it, I don't know if you can tell, I kind of felt like bad. Listen, you won a Super Bowl.
Hey, it's true.
I did a story on you a couple of years ago when I was at the New York Post. I looked up the career earnings. You did plenty fine. How many years in the NFL? 11, 12?
13.
13. Look, I keep shortchanging you.
Yeah,
So,
look at this.
13. The Hall of Fame voting hasn't happened yet, so maybe there's a shot. I'm not positive. But you had a great career. Listen, making the NFL for 1 year is an amazing accomplishment. Let me ask you before, it's going to be mostly about you. You did play for Bill Belichick. What have you thought of Bill Belichick as a media star now, obviously in North Carolina, but what was your impressions of Belichick media personality?
I wasn't surprised at his ability to make people laugh. He was in the media, he was who he was in meetings on a daily basis. It wasn't the interview type of Bill Belichick. I actually text his son Steve yesterday because I saw them two were on McAfee's show in the car driving on a recruiting trip. And I was like, the hell, both of you guys are going to be media stars now. He said he's not giving in on joining Twitter right now. But Bill, I mean, hey, like when we were in meetings, he would say things where the entire room would just bust out laughing. And he knew what he was saying, but he'd keep that straight face. So a lot of people got a chance to see who he was, the brutal kind of evaluation of players, but you saw that other side of him where he can laugh and he can have a good time.
We might get a little bit more into Bill a little bit later. To listen to the full podcast, andrewmarchand.com, andrewmarchand.com to become a full-time subscriber. We're sponsored by Magic Crop from WSC Sports. It takes a lot of time for editors to create a vertical content that fans are used to watching on TikTok, Instagram, etc. Automatically create and publish vertical videos at scale with WSC Sports Magic Crop. If you're a league, you're a team, it follows the live action, so you always get a perfect piece of content every time. Just Google WSC Sports, go to the right-hand corner, press that yellow button, demo, then email them, make a meeting, tell them Marchand sent you. A lot of people know your story, Jason, and obviously you're a twin with Devin. Devin's on NBC, also had a long career, mostly with the Patriots, or all with the Patriots. He obviously thought about, should I have both you guys on? You guys do everything together. I want to just focus on you. And you can talk about Devin, of course, because it is part of your story. But when did you first kind of look at the media and say, this is something I might want to do?
It kind of started early in my career in Tennessee, where after a few years, I ended up hosting my own radio show. You know how guys did that back in the day. You'd go to like the local bar and it'd be live and you'd have fans come down. And you start to see both sides of it, where we'd win a game and you get a bunch of fans in there and everybody's excited. And then next thing you know, you're on the course for a season that's 3-13. And by the end, where you're doing the radio show, you're starting to see if you have a personality or not, because there are no fans there. Nobody is excited to be there at the time. So it started with kind of that. And then at one point with the Titans, we had our own show that we would do in the Players Lounge, me and George Wilson, who came over. So I started to get into it at that point. And then, to be honest with you, being on bad teams and having to talk to the media every day, you kind of get better of how you use your words, saying the right things and everything of that nature. And then fast forward to getting traded to the New England Patriots. At that point, podcasts were starting, and Devin and myself, our marketing guy, was like, he had been talking to us probably the last 2 years that we needed to start something, and just being lazy, we hadn't. And then when you become teammates, it was kind of the perfect setup to do so. So in 2018, we started our own double coverage podcast. And that was our opportunity just to be in front of a camera once a week, talking about what was going on with our team across the NFL. And I think the key thing was having guests come on the show, because that's a skill that for all of us as former players, when you walk off the field and you want to get into media, you're used to being the subject of a conversation. So someone's sitting there asking you questions and you're talking about yourself. Well, now you're bringing a guest on. You got to do research. You got to find a way to make them feel comfortable to want to share and talk about whatever their journey is or the game, whatever the case may be. So there was a lot of learning lessons throughout that podcast. And I think that was kind of an audition tape for Devin and myself, that anybody that was interested in seeing what we could do, you can go and you could watch those episodes, because we definitely weren't getting a ton of subscribers, that's for sure.
We're trying to get subscribers. So listen to the full podcast. Upgrade at andrewmarchand.com, andrewmarchand.com for the rest of the podcast. Now, you're in a small market in Nashville, and then you go to New England, huge market, already a championship team. You help them win another Super Bowl with your brother, which was, I know, special. We've talked about that previously for the story I wrote a couple years ago. What was the difference in terms of the media with Nashville as compared to Baltimore?